All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Iron Banner returning in Season 18. We've got a new game mode. The game mode is called Eruption. Let me know your thoughts about that down in the comment section below. Are you loving it? Are you hating it? Or are you indifferent on the new game mode for Iron Banner? In today's video, we're going to be going over all of the god rolls for all of the weapons. Keep in mind that they now have a new updated origin trait, which only exclusively works in PvP. So for all of the god rolls, we're going to go over the PvP god rolls. Now, disclaimer, not all of these weapons are meta weapons, so you may not necessarily want to use these. There's oftentimes weapons that outclass them, and some of these weapons are of archetypes of weapons that we don't really see very often. For example, Frontier's Cry is a 180 RPM hand cannon. You don't really see a whole lot of usage of that in PvP. The 140s are just a lot stronger, and the 120s even are a little bit viable if you play at long range, but in today's video, we're going to go over all the god rolls anyways. So that way, if you grind Iron Banner, if you're loving Eruption, if you're trying to go after the title, if you're trying to guild your title, and you get one of these to drop, hang on to it, because it's still an excellent weapon. First up, we got the Riiswalker. For PvP, we're going to use Iron Reach. It's going to take down 30 stability, which isn't too big a deal. I mean, you know, it's a shotgun. We don't need a ton of stability on those. That will be a nice roll. That'll give us a good amount of range, one of the better kinetic shotguns, and we are going in chronological order from best weapons to worst weapons in PvP, in my opinion. Then we'll go with quick draw on this bad boy, a little bit of accurized rounds, a full choke barrel here, and then a range masterwork is going to be a very spicy roll of the Riiswalker if you get one of those bad boys to drop. Also keep in mind you do get to use that cool new origin trait, which I think that'll actually be surprisingly good in trials. We'll see. I could be wrong, but it's definitely better than a good majority of the other origin traits out there, because it actually has some serious viability. Next up, we'll talk about the Wizened Rebuke. Now, this is a fusion rifle that has a lot of charge time to it, so keep that in mind. But if we can get really, really high stability on this bad boy, these fusions are super lethal at extremely high ranges. So we're going to go with Iron Grip, which is going to take down your reload speed by 23. I mean, we're sitting at a massive, I think 0 reload speed. So have fun reloading this bad boy. But we're also going to use Under Pressure. We're going to use Particle Repeater. Probably go with Arrowhead Break, but you could go another barrel as well. Polygon, something with stability, or maybe even small bore. And then we do a stability masterwork as well. Basically, we have found time and time again in tests and in playing with fusion rifles that stability perks on them make them OP. Bungie has nerfed some of them, and I believe Under Pressure is one of the perks that has been nerfed from Bungie. But even still, stability is really important on a fusion, so that's going to be the god roll for PvP, in my opinion. If you disagree, feel free to comment down below. Next up, we'll talk about the Hero's Burden. Now, keep in mind, this is a 900 RPM SMG that is void. Can you think of any others that are similar to that? The Funnel Web. The Funnel Web outclasses the Hero's Burden in pretty much every way possible, unfortunately. So if you had the choice between a Hero's Burden or Godroll Funnel Web, definitely use Funnel Web. It's way better in pretty much every way. But if you do get one that has Iron Reach, Fragile Focus, Ricochet Rounds, Hammer Forged, and a Range Masterwork, that is a Godroll. And who knows what Bungie will do. Obviously, we have mid-season sandbox changes. We have in-between season sandbox changes. Something could happen to one of these perks. Maybe Fragile Focus gets a giant buff. I don't know. Maybe something on Rangefinder gets a giant nerf for SMGs. We don't know the future, but this is definitely the god roll of this weapon. But like I said, Funnel Web outclasses it. Next up, we'll talk about the Allied Demand Sidearm, okay? 300 RPM Sidearm. These are actually pretty good. I know a lot of people laugh when I talk about sidearms. Sidearms are actually really good. If you're on controller, they're insanely good. I personally like them as well, even on mouse and keyboard, though. For this one, we're going to use range, plus 20 and minus 30 stability with Iron Reach, because we're going to try and get as much range on this bad boy as possible. We're not going to worry too much about the stability because this thing has really, really high base stability on it. Next up, we're talking about Rangefinder. That's always the go-to perk with SMGs and sidearms. Accurized rounds, full bore, because we do not care about the stability loss, and a range masterwork. This thing, if someone gets one of these bad boys, you should definitely test out how much range this thing has. I mean, obviously it says right here it'll give you the damage. We're almost at 15 meters total damage drop off. Holy crap. An 89 range, 300 RPM sidearm. That sounds actually pretty crazy. I bet that thing would smoke people inside Crucible. But again, sidearms, I still think they get a little bit outclassed by SMGs, but it's a fun weapon to chase for. The Frontier's Cry, God roll. Again, we're on the 180 RPMs. Not quite as good as the 140s or even the 120s, kind of the weaker archetype of hand cannons. Kill clip on this bad boy, rapid hit, accurized rounds, hammer forged, and a ranged masterwork is going to be the god roll for that. Moving on to the next one, we got the Roar of the Bear. Not a whole lot of people really using rockets inside PvP. Mostly people using, I don't know, G-Horn, grenade launchers, maybe even eager edge swords. But if you are going to rock a Roar of the Bear, the god roll of this bad boy, we're going to want to get as much velocity as possible. Impulse Amplifier, Cluster Bomb, high velocity rounds, hard launch, and a velocity masterwork. You just want to turn this thing into an absolute missile, and that will get you 1 kill if you're rocking it in something like Trials of Osiris. And then that's the last one. I was going to talk about a little bit about the god roll funnel web, but didn't need to do that because we're comparing that to Hero's Burden. So let me know your thoughts about all those different god rolls down in the comment section below. Are there any that you're actually going to be chasing for? And that's a wrap on this one. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Later.